Inspiration can come from anywhere. Evaluating market trends, having a conversation with friends, or the reading of an article, a person can become inspired by the situation and go down a course that they wouldn't have traveled otherwise. And since fate is a fickle thing, there's no guarantee that it would succeed, no matter how hard one tries or what decision they make in order to stay the course. But if it proves successful and it succeeds with flying colors, then said person can become haunted with fame and fortune from that point forward. Greetings and welcome to Checkpoint Gaming Mancala. With this episode, we'll be going over Kalah. With Kalah, it is a relatively recent invention and was invented in 1940 by William Julius Champion Jr. What inspired Champion to invent the game was the reading of an article that was published on a Mancala game, followed by him conducting further research on the matter. Champion then started selling his game in 1944, followed by obtaining a patent for the design in 1952 and a patent for rules in 1955. In 1958, he established the Kalah Game Company in Holbrook, Massachusetts, United States, with the product being produced into the 1970s. And with the game's registered trademark, it lasted from 1970 to 2002. Although Champion promoted the game as being an ancient Sumerian invention, it isn't. It also doesn't have any direct connections with Africa. However, it is suspected that it was inspired by the Javanese Mancala game Dakon, and with the word Kalah, it is Timorese in origin and it means to defeat. When played, it is between two players, and the board consists of a 2x6 grid with each player owning the 6 pits found in front of them. There are also 2 large stores found on either end of the board and are referred to as Kalah, with the player owning the Kalah found to their right. With contemporary play, the game starts with 4 seeds found in each pit, although Champion recommended that the game start with 6 seeds per pit instead. But for easier play, only 3 seeds per pit is to be used. With the game's objective, it is to capture more seeds than the opposing player with draws being possible. With determining who is to go first, it is done at random. During gameplay, players will take turns engaging in the sowing process. On the player's turn, they're to choose one of their 6 pits and remove all seeds found in it. From there, the player is to sow these seeds, one at a time, in a counterclockwise direction. With that said, although the player can sow the seeds into their own Kalah, they're never to sow them into their opponent's Kalah. When picking up the seeds from a pit, players aren't allowed to count them, and once the seeds of a given pit have been touched, they will have to be used to engage in sowing. If the last seed a player sows is sown into the player's Kalah, then said player will have to sow once again. If the last seed a player sows is done into an opponent's pit, or into an occupied pit of the player, then their move is to end without anything being captured with play passing on to the other player. But if the last seed is sown into an empty pit on the player's side of the board, they will capture all of the seeds found in the opponent's pit along with the capturing piece. From there, these seeds are placed into the player's Kalah. But if the opponent's pit is empty, then no seeds are captured with play, then passing on to the opposing player. For the game to come to an end, it is when one of the players no longer has any seeds found within their pits. From there, the remaining seeds are captured by the opposing player. In order to determine a winner, it is the player who has captured the most seeds during the game. Kalah also comes with some variants that we would like to take a look at. First, we have the pie rule variant that sees after the first turn, the second player deciding if they wish to perform a turn as normal or to switch sides, causing them to become the first player. If switching sides and the switch is completed, the game proceeds normally. Second, we have the empty capture variant, which permits the capturing of the last seed when it is sown in an empty pit on the player's side of the board, even if the opponent's pit is empty. Third, an alternative rule exists where the remaining seeds found at the end of the game not counting towards the score. And fourth, we have the cross Kalah, which will change one of the game's rules. When sowing from a pit that possesses an odd number of seeds, they're to be sown in a clockwise direction. But if the pit possesses an even number of seeds, they're to be sown in a counterclockwise direction. And with that said, this will bookend the main series pertaining to how to go about playing the game, Mancala. We hope that you found this to be helpful and allowed you to better understand how to go about playing the game. As time progresses and any updates get put out for the community, we will return to these episodes and update them accordingly to better reflect the changes that have been made to the game. With the nature of Checkpoint Gaming, we want to present the most up-to-date version of the game as possible to those who wish to play. So with that said, we hope you enjoyed our series pertaining to how to go about playing Mancala.